for the government, they need an off-ramp for this conflict. They need signs that it's going to end, because if it doesn't, it's going to be a huge problem with the cost of living. And it already is. I mean, one of the points Rachel Reeves made in the Commons yesterday was she said this is already going to have an inflationary impact. So we are going to be seeing that at petrol pumps, in energy bills, in some form.
So how are Donald Trump's mixed messages being received in Downing Street? Steve Swinford is the Times political editor. Morning, Steve.
Good morning.
We played at the beginning of this programme the things Trump has said in the last 12 or 18 hours, and they're very contradictory. They talk about the very complete aspects of the war, but it continuing, how friendly Putin is. Does this make Starmer feel it's a good thing to be distant from Trump, or does it make the position for Keir Starmer even more difficult?
The position from Starmer is he wants this conflict over as soon as possible. That is the overwhelming priority of the government. And listening to Trump last night, they are as confused as I'm sure all of our listeners are. We are somewhere between this being complete, as Trump called it, and nearly over, and then immediately reverting to death, fire and fury against Tehran and more bombing raids. So it is unclear. The markets have clearly taken a view. They think it is potentially winding down now, and the price of oil is once again under $100 a barrel. That is good news. But for the government, they need an off-ramp for this conflict. They need signs that it's going to end, because if it doesn't, it's going to be a huge problem with the cost of living. And it already is. I mean, one of the points Rachel Reeves made in the Commons yesterday was she said this is already going to have an inflationary impact. So we are going to be seeing that at petrol pumps, in energy bills, in some form. There is a lag between these things happening, essentially. So we're going to see it. It depends on how big it is now. But the government's position from the off has been this has to be de-escalated. There has to be an off-ramp. There doesn't appear to be one yet.
We had the NFU on saying that food prices are going to go up now already, because the fertiliser that some farmers need they can't buy it, and therefore they'll have to decide whether to put the crops in to make the decisions they need to make for food to be available in the summer.
Yeah, and that was one of the groups. I always know there's a problem when the fertiliser lobbyists get in touch, and they were pretty hot yesterday pointing out that this is going to have a very direct impact, and it matters exactly as you say because of food prices. So look, for a government that's its entire mission now is to get down the cost of living, everything it does is supposed to be towards that. It needs this conflict to come to an end. There's no sign that it is, and there's also no sign yet that we're going to be doing more in the region. So the HMS Dragon was originally due to go today. That's one of our Type 45 vessels that was due to go out there. That's now going out tomorrow. So we still have virtually no Royal Naval presence in the region, which is quite an extraordinary situation to be in. I guess the world waits increasingly for Donald Trump to wake up and what his next message will be.
Meanwhile, another domestic story. I feel we've been discussing digital ID in this country for 20 years, and we always seem just about to have it, and then it never quite happens. Will I die before digital ID is finally introduced into this country?
I increasingly think it's already kind of there in our lives through private companies. They've already got forms of digital ID. But look, the government is going to unveil its plans for its own digital ID this afternoon. And I think it's actually going to be pretty limited in scope, because there have been such a backlash to so many aspects of it now. It won't have health data on it. It's not going to have data from the DFE on it. They're talking about making it easier to access things like your benefits and get your passport. It's all very well and good, but just to track back for listeners again, this whole thing has been a fiasco from the off. It was originally pitched by Starmer as this draconian plan where everyone would need digital ID for the right to work. The government was forced to abandon that in a very significant U-turn, and they've now gone back to how I would argue it should have been pitched in the first place, which is as something to make your life easier, right? And I think that people could understand that. There is a clear case to be made for that, but the problem is all the goodwill has evaporated. Digital ID is now hugely unpopular, and ministers I'm talking to are privately questioning whether this will ever see the light of day, because it's going to run out of time before the end of this parliament. So look, we get the consultation today. We'll start to get some of that consumer aspect, but it may never happen.
See, one day you're going to be able to report something that doesn't have the phrase "we're about to get the consultation" at the end of it.
I hope so. I hope that the government will actually do some things at the point that we can discuss and debate. But look, we can postulate on possible worlds to come, and I'm sure we'll be doing that with some nice graphics of what the app could look like and may look like, without the actual sticky stuff of doing it.
The problem of things actually happening in reality can be such a drag, can't it? Steve, great to speak to you.
Thank you.
That's Steve Swinford there, the Times political editor.
Do you remember the Matt Hancock app?
I do. Was it called Hancock?
I don't think it was called Hancock. That would be just open to misinterpretation, wouldn't it?
I remember people It was. In retrospect, it feels like this act of Partridgian hubris, and it probably was, wasn't it? It probably was with this mad megalomania from the part of it.
I think it had to be shut down because they found out that it had indirect back route access to all of your photos and videos.
It breached data requirements. Was he DCMS at that point? Is that why he did it? So it wasn't even the health secretary at that point. That was just when he was trying to make a name in DCMS, which is hard to do, isn't it?
It's ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Ahead of his time.
Or was he?